10 seconds remaining.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our deciding Game 3. It's play day 3 of 6 for Korean Dota League Season 1 action. We're in Tier 1, and it's going to be Zephyr versus MVP Phoenix. In Game 1, we saw the triple Battle Fury, man mode, balls to the wall, crit Lord, Ember Spirit take down Zephyr. And in Game 2, well, it was just double BKB, game over for a very farmed Sand King. Went 12-0, Ryzen couldn't get the job done. And now we go to a Game 3. I'm LD Beyond the Summit. And I'm joined here today by someone who I have not cast with in a very long time. He is Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, you still alive?
Yeah, apparently I am, man. Thanks to you just bringing me on the cast, of course, or allowing me to be here, rather.
I hope you're well. It's been a while.
I'm doing quite well, man. I mean, despite all things, like, I guess one of the things right now is I've been having some mouse problems, and it qualifies under first world problems because I actually I got rid of my $5 Asus mouse to put in this Razer Naga, and all of a sudden I'm having to deal with all these things like DPI and these things that I don't really understand. So it's taken a slight toll on my gaming habits, but needless to say, that's not of concern here because we got Zephyr Dota going against Phoenix here.
I like how you went on about it for a solid minute, and you're like, oh yeah, that's not important.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. No, did you get to watch the games earlier, Claire?
Yeah, I did. I was actually woke up and went straight into Game 2 halfway in while you were talking about it, and some nice points that you brought up. But I honestly had a feeling that as soon as the Sand King's score came up with the 12 kills, I thought it was really going downhill. Because I think unless you're really inside the game to experience it, it's very hard to tell for spectators. But if you're a core hero and you're moving around the map to try and secure kills, and most of it goes to your supports, chances are you're actually losing out more than you're gaining, and it actually hurts your progression towards the late game.
And a lot of those kills were on supports as well. They were not killing the TA or the Ursa at all that game.
Yeah, exactly. Ursa only had one death at the end of the game, of course. And so all things considered, I think Zephyr just played it really well at the end and was able to keep the security of their heroes for the most part.
Okay, well, talk to me about this game, Claire. It was a first pick Wisp. Zephyr go for the Mirana Shadow Demon, something that we used to see a lot out of Speed Gaming. We saw Sigma would go Bane Shadow Demon quite a bit. I think with Zephyr, they just love Purge's Shadow Demon. It's one of his most comfortable supports. But how do you feel about the way the draft's developing, and what should we be keeping our eyes on moving forward?
I would definitely say, just by looking at the heroes picked up so far, even without the bans, I would say MVP Phoenix have the advantage. I think the two heroes they've picked up just opens the coast for a lot more flexibility in their draft, whereas Zephyr, when you pick heroes like Priestess as well as Shadow Demon so early, not both of them so early, what ends up happening is you kind of give away your cards with regards to what your game plan is. And I guess you can kind of say that their safe lanes, or rather their solo lanes, are kind of hidden still. But if you ever heard me talk about this kind of stuff, my qualms with Mirana as well as Shadow Demon pickup and now Crystal Maiden is this kind of strategy is really, really all into the early game. There's very, very little chance for redemption if your early game ganks fail. Even if they succeed, well, Nature's Prophet as well as Wisp happen to be some of the best comeback heroes in the game. So I think MVP Phoenix have a really, really good draft set ahead of them right now.
What is the equivalent League of Legends draft to what Zephyr's doing here? I'm just I'm trying to up my game here as a caster, and I just you look at those league viewership stats. I can't deal with being second fiddle, so I might be making my move someday. Just want to keep myself informed, Claire. And I know you are a professional League of Legends player with a lot of insight. So
I kind of just began that whole trolling session as whatever, but I guess it kind of got overblown as soon as I posted that Reddit thread. I'll tell you honestly, the biggest factor that moved me to League of Legends or got me to actually start playing the game a little bit is because I was raging nonstop at Dota ranked games, and it was just it was so bad on my health that after a game or two I'd have to just go outside and take a walk for 10 minutes just to calm down so I can think about what I did and think about how I can just play better or whatever. But I don't know, ranked matchmaking is for me, it's a real frustration, and I know not a lot of people might see it the same way, but that's just how it has been.
No, it's Judging by my experiences, my Twitter feed, my teammates' experiences, I think ranked retching is a frustration for everyone. But
Yeah, it was a real burden. Like it was LD, man. I gotta tell you, man, that stuff was eating away at my soul, my very core, and I had to get away. I had to just you know what it is. It's like when you go into a new game,
you're going into detox basically. Like you're replacing the pills with booze.
yeah. Well, I guess if you want to look into other sources of escapism, I guess so. But it's just like when you start something new and fresh, you're kind of trying to have fun, or you have fun by experiencing something new and learning things. In Dota, it's gotten to the point for me where, like, I mean, of course, I still learn, and I'm not. It's not that I'm fantastic at the game or anything. It's just that some games just become so hopeless because I feel like there's incompatibility in the team, whether it's teammates or whether it's myself, and
Okay.
you know, games just don't become fun sometimes. But you know, I still love casting. I still love watching Dota. I was just watching with the boys earlier, and even this game, you know, it's refreshing to see the draft come out this way because Gyrocopter, for example, I know that hasn't been picked up in a while.
Yeah.
And although Naga Siren, that's been picked up quite a bit lately. I think.
Boy, are we gonna see a Blitz Naga carry Naga? Is this something Corey will take? They are dire, so I know the solo mid's not as good, but we've, you know, I will say I don't think I've seen carry Naga in the Korean scene at all. They kind of have their own metagame, and you definitely see the influence of, you know, like I know Fluff and Stuff's been coaching Zephyr quite a bit, and you know, obviously they watch the Western teams play, but you know, we have not seen much carry Naga in Korea, if any, before. I could be wrong about that, and this will be a first, at least for me.
Well, you know, honestly, I gotta give the compliments to the Koreans. It seems like every single time I watch them, I've been following the NSA a little bit because I was casting in the previous season, and every time I tune in, I'm gonna be just very honest and say that there seems to be minor improvements every single match. And maybe it's because I'm just seeing different teams and different tiers, and of course, as we're progressing towards or through winter brackets, we see better teams naturally. But like even last game, for example, as you were just commenting on Ryzen as a player, and even Heen having the awareness to drop the Sunstrike to follow up, and more like importantly, like this Ancient Apparition team synergy and all that stuff, that kind of stuff takes a lot of time to pick up in competitive in general. And the fact that these Koreans are already doing it, and just as you said, the Western influence kind of just kicks in because you can really notice it in Zephyr's drafts and their plays. It really is amazing. The development is very, very quick, and I dare say unparalleled.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like how long it took even the North American scene after Dota came out. Like you got to go back like to before Team Fire, and in some ways the North American scene, sure, it had more of a history with Dota, but it took a long time for us to have any contenders, and even as of TI3, you know, it was really the one big game that Liquid had versus LGD, as well as a lot of disappointments where I thought they would have gone farther. So if Korea keeps up this pace of development, who knows? I don't think this is their year, but maybe next year is kind of how I'm feeling about it right now.
Yeah, let's just hope things can keep growing. But
and so we're gonna see a TA for Zephyr, which we did see Blitz play last game. Was against Aquastic Exort Invoker, Purge ganked his lane, and Blitz snowballed pretty hard, but let's see. I don't know what he's laning against yet this game. I guess MVP still holding their solo mid in reserve.
Right. Once again, it's just MVP. The first two picks allow them to hide their draft so well. It picks key heroes that would be of crucial importance into the mid game and late game stages, but it also allowed them to have a transitionary kind of phase with specific other heroes. And of course, that last core is what we're looking into right now with the Earthshaker as well as the Wisp probably pairing up to be the support duo.
Is this going to be a Ryzen Earthshaker? Is that what we're going to see today?
Is that what we're going to see today? Pardon me, I don't get the reference.
Well, after Sand King, I mean, yeah, it's very similar playmaker.
Yeah, right.
No, he's on the Wisp. So Queen of Pain mid against TA. We used to see this matchup all the time.
Classic.
I think, yeah, classic solo mid matchup. I think for me, probably the most impressive performances I've seen just from events I've actually cast live. This is a matchup that's better on LAN, where you can meld dodge Shadow Strike when players go for it. Shadow Strike's not as good anymore, I guess, but how do you see this matchup playing out? Because it's something I have not cast, and there's been a number of changes to the hero since the last time I actually saw it.
Exactly. The most notable one is actually the change to the Queen of Pain. As well as the gold changes and all that. Of course, she's still going to get the null talisman and get pulled. But here's the deceptive part about the mid lane Queen of Pain. The best way to actually beat a Templar Assassin is to commit yourself into all region and kind of quote-unquote all-inner at like level 1, level 2. And by that, what I mean is you drop as many Shadow Strikes as you can and get as many right clicks as you can, possibly to the point where you sacrifice CS for it, so you can try to zone out the Templar completely in the lane. Because looking at the regen right now, this patch, ever since the change of the Tangles, in general, mid lane has had a very lackluster regen-oriented playstyle. Like, if aside from the bottle crowing, like look at
Like
Blitz's
they
side.
get more stats when they rush bottle instead
Yeah.
of getting like an early set of tangos kind of
Right,
thing.
exactly. Like, how easy is it for Queen of Pain to burn through 2 Tangles on a Templar Assassin who's basically a melee hero at level 1? It's definitely one of the easiest tasks, and just looking up the regen, yeah, for sure, Heen's regen is going to be able to
30
cancel out
seconds
Blitz,
to battle.
but Blitz might be able to pick up the bottle much quicker just because of the pooling as well as the gold changes, so it's going to be rough, I think. But the Queen of Pain definitely has a slight disadvantage since the previous patch, because the nerf to the Shadow Strike is actually a big deal. The 30 mana cost every cast is quite a big significance.
It really adds up. And I guess the one other thing to point out is often you'll see players take Meld at level 1 to dodge Shadow Strike. I know Mushi likes to do that when he's played this matchup in the past, but Blitz just goes straight for Refraction. And to be fair, I guess online it can be a bit harder to pull off, but they're all in Korea, so I don't think lag would be a big issue there. But on that note, Claire, it's time for a deciding game 3. I'll just run through the teams real quickly. We've got Team Zephyr, the win from the West, Purge, reprising his role as the support Crystal Maiden, Corey, your Mirana, Aosin playing the support Shadow Demon, not Purge this time around, Blitz on the solo mid TA, Sexy Bambo on an off-lane Naga. I want you to talk about this, but first, MVP, we've got the March, Gyrocopter, Dubu on the Earthshaker, Ryzen, the EO. Looks like they want to maybe pressure Bambo a bit, but Heen on the solo mid Quap, and it does leave 4EV as the off-lane Prophet. So, at least for me, the most interesting thing is this off-lane Naga.
Yeah, it's definitely it's something that's been used a couple times before. I know Fnatic used to do it quite frequently, and I seen Funnick on Navi do it a couple times as well.
Oh boy. Top lane, this is probably going to be our first blood for him. Takes an arrow to the face, and it will be enough to bring him down.
First blood.
Yeah, just a frostbite into arrow, and tried to juke, but couldn't quite get out of the line of fire in time.
You know, the worst thing about all of this is that because they actually got a kill against the creep wave, what's happening is the Prophet, he's got a 2 creep wave build up, and he's pushing Zephyr's safe lane so hard. When he comes back to the lane, yeah, he's not even gonna bother. And honestly, I agree with it. There's no point going back to that lane anymore because the lane control will be completely in favor of Zephyr after that, and they have 2 supports on standby ready to get another kill if the Prophet does return. So, I think this is a good call. But just going back to the Naga Siren, last time I've seen Funnick play this, he got the mirror images at level 1, and it was ironically against a priestess on the other team. Now,
you know what? I want to say I was either casting or watching that game because I do remember seeing an offlane Naga, and he was like, I'm trying to remember, like I'm pretty sure he was
level 1
like,
at 6 minutes. Level 1 at 6 minutes. Those were the exact statistics. He had half his EXP bar full at 6 minutes.
Maybe there was another game because I remember like a game where it actually worked, and then yeah, there was a game where it was disastrously bad.
Well, I can tell you it worked because they won, but whether it worked or not is, I guess, is somewhat of a different story. It might not work here though.
Yeah, all that armor not gonna help you against the magic output of a gyro, and easily run him down, and that's boots first too, but just doesn't matter.
Yeah, Naga is a fast fish, but when you have Io in the fray, all of a sudden movement speeds just get completely toppled.
Yeah, and Gyro's base move speed is nothing to sneeze at either, so
yeah,
pretty hard to run away from him. But overall, mid lane looking fairly even CS-wise, 10 and 5. Lucky regen rune for Heen, who somewhat needed it. Tried to bully Blitz out of lane a bit, but wasn't really that successful. He only needed like 2 CS to get the bottle. And looks like it's just going to be a far more mid, which generally I would think favors the TA.
Yeah, definitely favors the Templar. One nice thing that Heen has going for him is that the lane was on his side for a little bit, and he's beating Blitz on EXP, but that's because, once again, the creeps pushed into him first. Blitz also has his boots as well already, which means that he can probably get away from a couple of right clicks more than he would like anyways. And yeah, that kind of shuts down the potential for more aggression, so Blitz should be very content with this lane so far. And looks like he's going to be able to get that catapult. Nope, not quite, but continuing to CS fairly decently. And yeah, there's that LAN or low ping, whatever you would like to call it, coming into play. Blitz was just able to dodge the Shadow Strike with his meld, and he's actually taking a lot of damage out of that.
Yeah, we used to see when people would run this matchup, like you'd actually pull the Queen of Pain, even at level 1, a Sentry Ward.
Sentries,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's definitely worth it though. I mean, it's the difference between winning a lane by skill as well as destroying a lane. And at mid lane, it's so important to destroy your lane or try to.
And look at what's happening to Heed now. Like he can't stand against Blitz anymore.
I gotta say that was a little bit of a mistake though, don't you think?
His Blink's on cooldown, and he's gonna walk right into Purge, and that's just an easy kill.
Second time, I think. Okay, so the first time he actually walked into the Templar with Refraction, decided to use a Scream of Pain and try to get the CS that way. All he got was 1 CS out of it and lost 300 life points for it as a trade. And then the second time he used his Blink to get away, and of course, I guess it's difficult to have awareness right now against the tri lane at top because nobody's really there to call the shot saying like somebody's missing. But I think he should have anticipated that kind of attempt coming in.
Yeah, and they do have an Observer Ward here, but it doesn't really see a whole lot, just when the heroes are actually in the lane. Meanwhile, bottom, March dove deep for Bamboo. They forced out a TP from Aosin, but they will be able to retreat out, and we'll now see Purge make a move towards mid. So, March, early phase boots. I like this choice a lot. We saw, I think it was 1 or 2 games ago where the Lifestealer from MVP just went for a very greedy Midas and allowed Bamboo to get a ton of experience in the offlane for free, but early phase, gonna keep that Naga on the back foot, and if she gets caught, can actually die to the combo.
She is a fast fish, but she is rather vulnerable before that level 6. So,
yeah.
Bamboo will be on the retreat now. Now, I do want to touch upon that point you said about Mushi. I know before it's too far gone. Actually, I'm going to hold that thought because Heen's getting initiated on again.
Oh boy, that's not a good blink right into the frostbite. Real unfortunate for him. And yeah, Blitz is just going to snowball now. This lane is completely lost.
Yeah, the lane is pretty much lost. Unfortunately, I have to agree to that. And it's just really good rotations coming out of Purge. Shadow Demon was there to kind of provide aerial support and kind of say, I'm here team in case you guys need
moral support as well.
Moral support,
as
exactly.
Aerial support.
Yeah, and kind of just gave his presence as well as picked up some EXP, I guess. But that matchup as a whole, the Templar against Queen, personally I never felt it was really worth it to get the mill, because if you actually get milled at level 1, the Queen will Shadow Strike you at level 1 if she has it. And if you show that you have milled, basically she will just right click you for more damage. And as I say that, Heen's actually able to rotate bottom, and Bamboo goes down yet again.
He's playing awful aggressively. Like, he's not dying at his tower, he's dying like near the enemy tier 1, just posting up, and you look at his vision, and he's got no vision on his side of the map, so I would just kind of want to say, like, typical Bamboo.
Yeah, it's trademark Bamboo, yep.
And sometimes it works, you know, sometimes he gets more out of the lane, and the greed pays, and the aggression pays off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know,
it also goes the other way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Of course, I mean, the whole notion of space making and that kind of jokes aside, like, it really does benefit and favor the team. Like, sometimes it does give you a lot of intel, and it opens the coast for a lot of creative plays coming in that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. But it is a two-edged sword, and sometimes you kind of just die going, what the heck just happened then?
So one thing I want to bring up as well, Morana went 1 point in Starfall, got 3 in Arrow, and is now going back for the Starfall max. That's pretty unusual. Like, I've seen 2 in Arrow. I know God's theory on maxing Arrow is if you max Arrow, then you have to hit it, right? So,
yeah, that's right.
That's his theory. Hold that thought. We have a fissure in on 2. There's a leap out from Corey. In comes the Queen of Pain as well, but there's still a disruption available. I don't know if Heen can really die for this. Wasted TP, 4 top for nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, 3 points in Arrow early.
Yep. Oh, it looks like this might be a turnaround because there's 2 heroes trying to flank from the side here.
Dun, 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 dun. Here comes Blitz, here comes Purge, Trap gets plopped down, and did they actually see them Moonlight Shadow initially? Because they're playing awful defensively. Maybe
I guess they must have, right? I mean, why else would you back in that situation? You've invested a TP from your mid laner as well as 2 supports. You might as well try to push the lane a little bit, get some more intel. But yeah, I guess. Going back to that Priestess thing though, the running joke between me and my boys is that if you max Arrow on Priestess, just like what God said, it's basically you making a statement that you're a cocky player, that you're very confident in landing your skill shot, and you have no regard for anything else.
Can it be considered cocky in this game when he's got Frostbite and Disruption and Net to set it up?
Corey, man. It's Corey. I've had the pleasure of playing with this guy on a team before, and I know he's a very humble individual, very respectable character, and a player, of course.
Is that a little undertone of sarcasm sense in your voice?
No.
The humility part of it, or?
No, absolutely not, absolutely not. Once again, on Stay Free, I did play with these guys, PPD, Trout, Zai, Corey, and yeah, and that's when I found out Zai was actually like 16 years old, and I said, you're the cutest thing ever, and you're gonna have immense potential,
You know,
and
that'll
yeah,
get you arrested in some states.
that's okay. God bless Canada, right?
There's Ryzen bottom lane. He's waiting with the tether here. And Bambo with the song, not an easy kill, but maybe they can force it out. We'll have to see. For now, they're just going to back off the farm. But yeah, seems like MVP's done a pretty good job of, in general, not just this game, but just of getting a lot out of the woods. One of the more efficient teams in terms of stacking, farming stacks. Seems like they're comfortable with a greedier style of Dota.
Oh yeah, they're actually extremely efficient. I remember that one part at bottom, Ryzen actually held the entire creep wave, tanking with his Sand King, and of course he was really farmed and no real harm or danger in his way, but he held the entire creep wave for one of his cores, rotating in from the base. Now, of course, it's not a pub game. Nobody's just gonna just take your CS as the carrier or whatever, but it was just, it's not a gesture that we see enough in North American Dota, I think.
Right, and also, you know, keeping them out of tower range, so you have lower chance of like missing a last hit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty good.
It was just a really good gesture.
It's like,
Oh wow.
he's got a good heart. We'll see a smoke gank here from Zephyr though. Purge and Aeson, 10-minute rune just spawned, and it was a regen bottom, which Blitz has just been having a very easy time securing these runes with Zephyr providing so much backup. And your Queen of Pain still just a Heen has just been a non-factor this game. 1 and 2.
She will struggle. No matter what, she will struggle this game. When you have that kind of a defeat in the lane against a hero like Templar Assassin, this hero will literally man-fight you whether you have Blink or not, and especially with that regen rune as well as the haste rune that he had prior to the regen rune, there's no way the Queen of Pain can have any impact against the Templar specifically unless he gets some rotations in. And speaking of which, he does have a dust in his inventory, and there is a Nature's Prophet inside the mid lane. Looks like they are going to go for it.
Well, interesting gank here on the Blitz. No dust popped yet. Now they'll fissure. Are they going for it or not? A little indecisive, gotta say.
This is a very casual gank, I gotta say.
It's like, well...
Why not just...
What's up, Blitz?
That's,
that was like a, just let him know that you could gank him if you wanted to.
Yeah, back away from my tower, man.
Sup, bro? But I do want to mention as well that Zephyr seems to be doing a good job of trying to keep the greed in check. Big meld crit comes out mid on Heen, but they did sentry off the Ancients, and in general they've been pretty aggressive about trying to deny MVP the easy jungle game. We'll see another leap in on the Blitz, but
yeah, they're doing a lot of
Quap dueling mid is not going to kill the TA. This is not working.
Well, yeah, not in this game scenario. If he had ultimate and he was able to drop a Nature's Call and body block the heck out of that TA while phase boost was down, that would have been a miraculous play though.
Yeah, when like the checklist to get a kill is like 10 steps long, then you're probably gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, something like that. Might as well just go for Bamboo in that case.
Yeah, but Bambo has song, and you know, I like when teams just force a song out. You know, sure, you know you're not going to kill him, but just make him waste it. But at this point, they have to be real worried about counter ganks. There's your net, an easy ensnare, and this should be a kill, I believe. And look, comes the Prophet ult. Now the call down deployed as well. Bambo can't run anywhere. There's nowhere to go. Gets disrupted by Aeson at the last possible second. The Screen of Pain is going to miss, or rather the ult, and now Bambo pops the song. TP's out. Well, it's another 5-man rotation for only a support Shadow Demon down. And all the while, Corey... Purge is farming. Corey actually TP'd in as well.
Yeah.
Relocate
Corey
top.
was farming.
And Purge is going to fall as well. Crystal Maiden down.
Yep. And I'll be interested to see whether they decide to stay here or leave March here, rather. Or they go back. I personally feel like when you commit those 5 heroes at bottom and you've gotten your kill on the other side of the map, it would actually be a wise decision to try and push both towers. And I guess that's adding on to the greed factor, but yeah, Nature's Prophet, it's good that he's showing his presence on the lane, but then again, I guess he's sort of scared of Corey as well as possible +1 coming in to kill him. Prophet is very vulnerable to a Priestess gank because Mirana can just close the gap on you anytime and drop a massive burst of damage on top of you with the spells.
So it seems like we're headed a little bit later at this point, Claire, is both teams focusing more on the farm game. The early hum of the Dominator came out for the Gyro. Prophet went Midas. Mirana went Midas. Blitz is going more like kind of mid-game-ish items, but you can go phase drums and then take it late. So if it goes late, which it seems it will, who's got the edge here? Who do you favor?
I've got to say MVP for sure. Without a doubt, MVP if they play their cards right, even with the Queen of Pain kind of just getting, I don't want to say destroyed, but really she did get destroyed because of the ganks. So it, even with such a bad start, the Queen of Pain can actually stay relevant by getting like a sheep stick or something that's crucial as a disable that can lock down somebody and kind of, at least if she's gonna sacrifice her life, she's gonna have to take down somebody with her. But yeah, generally speaking, in terms of farm and stuff, I feel like MVP has the edge right now. Although Zephyr is leading in gold by 500.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, whenever I ask that, it's more like if the game's even or close going into the late game anyway. But the tower does get denied top by 4ev, and he's been really all over the place with his heroes. We saw him on carry Ember in game 1, then he was offlane Clock, like a tempo controller in game 2, and now he's on the Prophet. So a man of many roles, I guess you could say, 4ev is, and he acquitted himself nicely in game 1. Game 2, not so much, but we'll see what he does here in the deciding game 3.
I'm proud of my Korean brethren, demonstrating their adaptabilities or whatever, and their flexibilities.
It sounded good in your head, and then you had to come up with the right word.
That's right. I was mixing flexible and adapt, and then it became adaptability. Oh man.
Oh boy.
English is a hard language.
Yeah, I know it's hard when you're playing all that League of Legends to
get your
focus back where it belongs.
Too much sexualized human females.
They really do sexualize their, like, not to say that Dota doesn't, but like League, I feel it's like every single female character is ultra sexualized.
Oh, of course, they gotta look attractive, man. You understand the market that they're catering to. Of course you have to.
I mean, I've seen what Sama likes to watch.
No, that guy's on another level of his own. Yeah, he even got a League sponsor.
There you go. Maybe he's trying to tell us something. There's a smoke gank from Zephyr, though. Purge will lead the way. In comes your Prophet ult splashing through, and it's going to make his way up into the Ancients. I think he thinks it's done. Nope. There's still a stack there. He wards it. Now he gets revealed, and March says, hello. That's a tasty Crystal Maiden. There comes the relocate as well from the backside. Region over the top, but they already used the cooldown. That's just a feed. It could be real bad here. Queen of Pain ult jumps in, and they do bring down Purge. Not really satisfactory yet. Wisp low. Will she fall? Yes, she will. That's 2. Make it 3. Dubu's on the run. It's just a chain feed. It all started with a gyro cooldown that never was going to work, and they forced it way too hard.
Yeah, the gyro cooldown that basically never should have been, and never was, I guess. Despite the wording, it was the cruel reality that it was. It's gonna get worse.
Oh, Heen, not like this. Not like this.
Goodbye, cruel
That's
world.
4 down. Yeah, they lost everyone except for the Prophet there, who is just going like full 6.78 at this point. Looks like the Shadow Blade's coming out next, but.
Ironically, he, just by that move of what just happened between the two teams, he has assumed the role of being the most important hero in this game. And if he wasn't before, he is certainly now, because only 1 death to his name in 17 minutes and split pushing, or attempting to split push anyway, he's going to be the only thing that's going to be able to keep them in this game for now. That kind of fight was really, really big because, of course, March still can secure his Ancients afterwards, but it was a fight that gave a good demonstration of how much damage Zephyr can actually dish out, and the fact that they can still push the issue on their side of the map if they really desired. So with that fear instilled into MVP right now, they're going to have to play extra careful, barring the Prophet, who didn't die and who has the mobility built into him.
And the other thing is that the next time they have a bad fight like that, that's Roche. Tier 1's down mid. Sure, they've got the Tier 1 bottom, but it's still quite a long ways to go for that. As Heen jumps in onto Bambo, there's a relocate too, and they know the Naga ult's down, and they punish it. Good game sense from MVP. Take advantage of it not being online, and a much-needed kill. Sure, it's on your off-lane Naga, but hey, space created. Now the ES can farm a bit mid. They can go right back to the woods, and I will say for MVP, maybe not the best fight selection, but they are very efficient when they pick the right fight, so they can just go right back to farming.
Right. Now, another thing that's been of concern for me is that this mid tower is still standing, and not just standing, it's standing in good shape. For them to be able to push it down with this kind of disadvantage, and I say that because once again they've lost a couple crucial fights, it's gonna take a lot of their resources, a lot more than they would want. Possibly with the involvement of the Nature's Prophet. Now, if the Nature's Prophet's not split pushing this game, there is actually very, very little room for MVP to maneuver around. I know you bring back the point of their efficiency as well as their jungle rotations and all. It is really fantastic, but once again, the disadvantage that they have been credited at the very start of the game due to the Queen of Pain just not working out the way that they had desired, it's just actually costing them so deep innately in the game, and they finally dewarded the sentry that was, I guess it was supposed to be blocking up the ancient camp, but yeah, they're gonna have to look to progress towards bigger objectives because as it stands right now, they might win the farming game into the late game, but with this kind of advantage going to Zephyr, they might just pick a fight. Zephyr might decide to take a fight anytime that favors them, and MVP might not be able to handle it.
And like you said, you know, it's up to Forev to... He's got to be the playmaker for this team. Even if the plays he's making are just farming and pushing the waves, but don't get caught by the counter ganks, hopefully, and force them back. He'll try to do so. Bottom lane continues to be pushed in by the Mirana. Corey gets aggressive, while they will defend mid as well. So it looks like a tier 1 top may fall. It should go to Forev, but the chase is on mid. Blitz is going to die for this. They have a song. They can be aggressive here for Dubu, and that'll definitely be a dead Earthshaker. Though he may turn it around. He drops the Echo. Doesn't really dunk much at all. In fact, I think that one, safe to say, it rimmed out. They actually keep Marshall live with the song. Not sure about all the spell usage in this fight. Now the Queen of Pain comes in, but Heen gets frostbitten up. That's 4 down. The Prophet could be the 5th. In fact, I think he will. Forev on the run, trapped up, no Shadow Blade, no escape. It's a team wipe. Oh my goodness. Pretty sloppy fight from both teams, to be honest. But hey, like you said, Zephyr might decide to pick a fight.
Yeah.
And MVP just can't take it right now.
Honestly, they just can't. I mean, the power spike that Zephyr got from winning the previous engagements, it's way too big for them to handle right now. And needless to say, man, as you said, it might have seemed like a sloppy fight, but they got completely overwhelmed. And honestly, at this point, there's very little they can do about it other than just split push and kind of ignore them.
And how well can they even split push? I mean,
yeah, that's the problem.
Prophet can okay, but he's just got Shadow Blade phase boots. Like, he's not like taking down tier 2s by himself. He's not going to be able to force their whole team back. And Zephyr are good at pushing out the waves. They have, I would say, 3 cores that are all pretty decent at it. TA's good at clearing waves. Mirana's decent. And Naga's quite good. So Zephyr can farm the enemy woods. They can push the lanes. And they're running a tri-core. Not to say that MVP isn't strong late game, because they definitely are, but I don't think it's enough. And now, after that fight, now it's just the tier 1 bottom, and then the way lies completely open to Roche for Team Zephyr.
Yeah. You know what I actually can't support this time is that I've seen the Koreans do this a lot on their Queen of Pain. It seems to be a main thing that they rush the Necro Book after like just this casual standard of items such as the treads as well as bottle and null. I can't agree with this decision in this game specifically.
What would you do instead?
It's a tough call, but I would actually say Dagon would work this game. This game as a whole is all about bursting targets inside the team fight and getting out, some of which are the Shadow Demon and Crystal Maiden, and they might not seem like a big potential or a big threat inside the fight at this stage in the game, but their hero presence as a whole, as well as the ability for them to spell cast and be disruptive, it's going to really bother a lot of MVP's heroes, because mainly MVP's heroes are lacking one critical item right now, and it's the BKB. Even March, he decided to go for Butterfly as well as the Helm of Dominator. And normally when you see the Butterfly Gyrocopter build, you almost always see the BKB. I know you casted the Chinese games a lot, and I remember LGD, in fact, when they started picking
yeah. Oh boy.
It was the BKB Butterfly, right? And there was a reason. There's actually a reason why that build is so good and why it was so popularized. So I can't say I agree with the Necrobook decision. I know they need something quick, fast, and in a hurry, but I'm not too sure if this kind of solution is the right approach. Then again, right now it's just so hard to call anything because they really are behind. But I feel like a build up into the Sheepstick or a Dagon would have been more sufficient.
I will say I like kind of the movement since that fight where they know they can't take Roche, they know they can't contest, so they go farm the enemy woods, they clear their own ancients. He's trying to be kind of saucy in the trees and, you know, just pop the Necro Book, draw the wave back, split push a bit. So they're at least making a good effort of it to keep the lanes out and stall, but it is tough to do with Bambo just like vacuum cleaner sucking up the enemy woods with his illusions. Or he should be, although right now he seems to have forgotten he has them. But he has been all over their woods with the illusions so far. Meanwhile, mid, a flurry of TPs descend, and March will quickly TP out. No mana on Bambo. Does have the Soul Rain, but I'm not gonna
Dire's
pop
top
it. And
tower is
well,
under
it's for Ev. He's doing a decent job of it, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, it's that hero. It's all about the reactionary timings. If he can get the timings correctly, he is really, really hard to catch. But of course, once again, this game, because he doesn't have the BKB, there are a lot of heroes that can solo kill him up. Templar Assassin, even without a stun, she can probably do it as well because she can see through the Sprout with the Psionic Trap, and she's picked up a Shadow Blade. So the element of surprise not only lies on the Prophet himself only this game, it also lies on the Templar Assassin, who is on the prowl, it seems like.
Oh, is he ever? Doesn't ever fraction up, but can just look to go in with a meld and then pop it after. Well.
Oh, you know what? Boba used to do this. Back when Shadow Blade did more damage, I think. Or actually, I forgot what the combo was, but basically you could meld and Shadow Blade back before, and that was when Bounty Hunters got Shadow Blade as well because it critted with their Janata. And yeah, it was very popular back then.
You mean like if you use them both like immediately before you're fading kind of thing?
That's right. You could chain them together. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean kind of like the lazy way to do it is just Shadow Blade it and then meld on top of them, which is... I guess it gives you the mobility, which you don't have if you try to use them both at once. But Purge just gets completely caught out. Still alive though, and now it's your Queen of Pain who's on the run. Well, Heen unable to find the kills. And
yeah.
Looks like Prophet ult. Oh no. Oh no. This is bad. This could be very bad for Corey. Nope, BKB still has it. Okay, he'll just sleep out. But does pop the Aegis. Let's see. Yeah, he had quite a few minutes left on that, so that's an unfortunate loss for them.
It was a heavy investment on the side of the Radiant, so I don't think it's all that bad. It's just what I find interesting is that I rarely see Corey actually get caught out. And I know once again he had the Aegis, so he was relatively safe in terms of just escaping with his life. But just a rare case scenario where I see Corey so far into the map without any support.
Yeah, he was just feeling. I guess he was just feeling confident. Like you said, he might be a humble player, but he knows when he can be aggressive in general.
Yeah,
and,
he can definitely gauge a scenario.
I think Bambo might rub off as a teammate. we'll see Purge with at least his third ward of the game on the Ancients, if not more. He's really done his job of trying to shut them down. And although Blitz will try to go on March, the Butterfly is really paying off for now, but Mirana just picked up a BKB, or MKB rather.
MKB,
so.
That's right.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem for March.
This is actually also another thing why Gyrocopter fell off. He has a very, oh, I'm going to have to hold that thought. Relocate to push out a lane.
Well, I
gotta say at this point, I'm not even gonna lie, that's probably worth. Yeah, that's probably.
I guess what else are they gonna use it for?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's 60-second cooldown left on it now. They pushed in the lane, so they're getting so much intel. At this point, they're saying to themselves, we don't have too many wards up in the map. But Zephyr's heroes aren't showing up, and we're pushing two lanes, top lane and bottom lane. If they're not there, chances are they're trying to gank us up, and there it is. They're rotating back this time, saying something smells fishy.
Yeah, and in fact, it is the fish on the move, and there's your ult to set it up. Slithers in, but there's a tether. There's no relocate out here. There's a call down at a BKB. This could be a great initiation. Oh boy, here comes Gyro. He's doing great damage. Brings the support slow. Kills the Shadow Demon mid disruption animation cast, but overextends. Pays with his own life. Now Blitz gets casually dunked. Can Heen finish the job? Yes, he can. They bring down 3. What a great turnaround from MVP.
Oh, you call that a casual dunk because there's not many creeps supporting it, but that was a LeBron level dunk right there.
Well, the Queen, that was an alley-oop. Queen of Pain jammed it in there at the end.
That's true.
But that was some good teamwork.
Yeah, man.
That actually, it looked like, first it just looked like an easy solo kill on the Prophet. I'm like, oh, they can't tether relocate him out. What's he gonna do? But Zephyr really clumped there, and they just did not respect the Gyro's AoE output.
Oh yeah. That's right. Once again, the hero does dish out a lot of damage with items, but I think one of the problems and one of the reasons actually why he's begun to fall off slightly in competitive is well, for one, I was told that he has sub 50% win rate in competitive.
Gyro?
But the other thing is that
like lifetime or in this patch?
I think this patch. I don't want to say lifetime. It might be lifetime actually. I see Gyro lose games pretty frequently too.
Yeah, he has been losing a lot more recently. I definitely seems the same to me as well.
Yeah, if you've noticed it, I guess. Honestly, like. I mean, back then people might have begged to differ, but Luna is a lot better than Gyrocopter in many, many ways. And it's not always about the sheer damage output what you have in the early game and stuff. So Gyrocopter as a whole, it's like he needs a lot of items to kick in, and of course he can farm with the flat cannon. But with like stuff like small things like flat cannon nerf, range nerf, and I know that was very insignificant in terms of numbers, but it all adds up.
You know, the thing for MVP is even though they lost 2 cores in that fight, the Gyro and the Prophet, they're still farming pretty well. Gyro's managed to pick up a BKB, and he can work towards the Satanic now. The Prophet's completed a Scythe. Sure, Corey's the leader in net worth, but when you're a Mirana, you need to be, so...
Yeah, exactly.
MVP, if they actually win a fight and start turning this game around, towers are even, but they can get the tower edge. One good fight, and maybe Roche is open, and you know, eventually he will have a Scythe of Ice of his own, so... I feel like Zephyr not out of the woods yet by any means.
Yeah, something... I just got that reference, but he's definitely going to be a crucial member now too, because as he's already picked up the Void Stone, which is the smallest part of his sheep stick, but it's something nevertheless. And when he gets that, and if the Nature's Prophet can kind of slice the eyes up somebody else as well, that's 2 targets that they can remove from the fight for a small period of time, and that's going to give them a lot of opportunity to work with. But
oh boy,
yeah, Corey's getting.
He almost died there. Yeah. Barely lives through the site. I only caught the tail end of it, but meanwhile on the bottom lane, they've gone in on Dubu. They know they're 4 heroes top, and this should not be an escape, I don't think. Does drop the Echo Slam, damages the Crystal Maiden, gets disrupted. Now the Gyro's turned it around though. Bambo on the retreat out, will he live? Gets clipped, but should survive. They all escape. Beam me up, Scotty. As Zephyr retreat out. So in the end, everyone lives, but only barely.
That Naga Siren hero, that ultimate's always going to be relevant no matter what metagame. It's just far too disruptive, and the cooldowns on it, as well as the mana cost and everything combined, it's just extremely powerful in no matter the situation. So
I'm not sure how I feel about Naga. Like that's like the Rat Dota Radiance Naga. I find it disgusting. It's one of the most awful things to spectate. I mean, it's a thing of beauty, but it's like once you've seen like really good micro, you get spoiled, right, by like Ice, Arteezy, what have you, and it's like, okay, now I want to see people fight, and it doesn't happen very much with that style of Naga.
No, it's simply made to not fight. Actually, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do to a hero that already has a like 8-second disengage kind of thing, as well as net and all these other game ruining spells that can do damage from a distance and disable from a distance? You give him the ability to push every single lane from any point in the map without having any real serious potential harm to him, and that's what Radiance does for him.
So MVP with 1 Scythe up, it does seem like they've got a little more room to create space, and I mean, credit to Forev.
Is that what Dota has come to, LD?
Yeah, space creation.
Yeah. Before it used to be just creating space, now you have room to create space. Soon we're gonna have room to open doors to create space and more windows of opportunities, therefore.
To open doors to create space. What has happened to my Dota, man? What's happened to my Dota? I honestly don't know. But the sites, it seems, have prompted Corey. I guess it could be a Lincoln's, although I imagine this is a Manta style, but he's tired of just getting insta-hexed and nearly dying on the back of it.
I'm actually very supportive of either items in this situation. As you said, the Scythe Advise is turning out to be a real pain, and that's really what the item's about, right? No matter what the hero that you're targeting has in terms of net worth, whether they're worth $1,000, 400k gold, or nothing, that sheepstick converts it to nil and just completely negates the majority of it, even evasion. So
yeah, well, look at that game with the triple Battlefield Ember Spirit. We'll see a relocate bottom, and it's just a farming relocate once again. But yeah, he could have all the items in the world, but one good Hex or one good Abyssal, and can still easily perish.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how tanky you are, how elusive you are, you get caught between 5 heroes, you're mincemeat.
Yep, that's generally the way the cookie crumbles. Sad though it may be for people who want a 1v5.
Yeah, very disappointing actually. I have to say, it is extremely frustrating.
Especially
BKB
like,
doesn't last forever.
In those ranked games, you know? It's like, I want a 1v5, but I can't. It doesn't work very often in Dota.
Man, I have a cruel confession to make. I have resorted to becoming a Terrorblade picker if I really want to win. And it's shameful, but...
You're a vile creature.
I am, but you know what? Sometimes, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the W.
Yep. Get those elo points. Get the get MMR. That's what
I'd
matters.
rather be a scumbag tryhard than lose and
Than a
have
loser.
half my soul eaten away.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. You gotta choose the lesser evil, man.
Yeah, and you know, people with their soul eaten away, like, they're just not meant to lose, you know? They can't deal with it. Some people can accept losing and, you know, be mature about it, but, you know.
I'd like to think, I'd like to think that the majority of us could be mature about it. It's just...
We just choose not to.
Yeah,
Radiant's bottom
that's right.
tower
It's
is
like,
and pick
under
terribly.
you know, we can quit anytime. It's just the choice thing.
Well, Radiance is up on the Naga. That's a 34-minute offlane Naga Radiance. This could get... it's cloudy with a extremely high chance of rat at this point. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, quite possibly. But honestly, once again, the strength on Zephyr, especially with the addition of this Radiance, I mean, this Radiance, yeah, it's going to boost up his farming capabilities a lot more, but it's actually going to wreak havoc in the team fights as well, just because as a 3-position hero, you're not really expected to dish out this kind of damage, as well as this pushing. So yeah, in terms of a rat, if you would, I guess the potential just spiked through the roof, but at the same time, they can still take a fight or an engagement and still come out ahead just because of the sheer amount of damage they have. And MVP, they still haven't gotten to that point where some of their heroes are kind of invincible.
Yeah.
And they have to pick their fights carefully. And I mean the Gyrocopter, even with that pickup on the Satanic, he really is not invincible. I'd actually go so far to say that he's pretty squishy right now in situations like this.
Arrow's gonna fly, but he does pop the BKB. Aosin gotta hightail it out of here, tries to TP out, but the MKBs just bring him down. He can't even TP in time.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the
And now-
worst case scenario.
And bottom lane, Forev, he doesn't have the damage output necessary. In fact, Bambo's just gonna net him, holding onto the song. He won't even have to use it. We're not done yet, though. Top lane. Earthshaker falls to a Bambo illusion. Looks like it was chasing him back to base. And while that's happening, Ryzen also will perish. That's 3 down. And yeah, ES. This is where the grave was. That's the other reason why he was a little bit like slow with this hero, because he was microing the illusions after the Earthshaker.
Now, of course, an unfortunate circumstance or series of events for MVP, but that was just really awkward. Did you see what happened? I know you're chasing the Earthshaker, so you might have not been able to catch it. The Wisp, he relocated as well as teleported. I think he actually ended up teleporting inside the base, and then he ended up relocating back to where the Gyrocopter died, and he kind of just stood there for 2 seconds still. Like I think Ryzen was literally going like, "Where'd my hero go?" And Ilsen was there waiting for him, or kind of just caught him as he was walking through the jungle, and he got popped as well. So 3 heroes going down for MVP, and that advantage that Zephyr was able to accumulate from the start, only getting bigger.
Yeah, I missed that. I guess probably fortunately for Ryzen, since it sounds like it wasn't his finest moment. But yeah, this is tough. And you know, for MVP, they have the Scythe up on the Prophet, and they have the Wisp. You would really think they could find better openings, but it seems like Zephyr are always the ones having more heroes at the point of attack, getting the better initiations, and you know, MVP, just the global lineup is normally the team that gets to pick the right fights, but not this game.
It honestly has things to do with 2 most important things. Is that one, Zephyr's map control right now is ridiculous, to put it in one word. It's like they basically see everything that they would want to. As a matter of fact, I would go so far to say they don't even care about where the enemy heroes are right now. They just want to push the lanes, see the jungle. If they're not there, they're okay wherever they are possibly on the map, because there's just not many options for them. Once again, there's a very limited amount of space available on the map for this game in particular. And secondly, there was an addition that, yeah, on the contrary, I would like to say that MVP, they have absolutely no map control. They have no vision anywhere. There's no wards. The only ward I see is a lonesome sentry ward at the top lane when it comes to vision across the river. And then I know they just placed one on the Radiant Hill.
This is a ward you place when you have no map control.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, you need something to get done. And of course, it's going to spot out Ilsen, so they're going to get a slight idea of what's going on with regards to Zephyr and what their next series of events are going to be. But they have to be extremely worried here, because they have the base advantage when it comes to high ground defense. But at the same time, Blitz is on the prowl and doesn't quite catch anybody in time with the MKB.
Good effort though, and oh no, okay. Forev did see him. Blitz kills off 1 wave. Otherwise, Blitz doesn't have detection, so unless he went full Ferrari 430, he's not getting that kill. There will be a relocate to the top lane, though. They're going to catch Blitz out. He gets Scythe. He can't BKB. Actually, somehow does get it off. Now turns on 4F, brings him down. He's not going to kill this Gyro off, though. Needs to run in a hurry. But won't be able to. Goes down. Well, they get the TA, but is it enough? Corey just keeps on chipping away at mid. And with the cooldown having been used... Oh, there's your double Hex. This guy, I feel like this could be the game changer, because just a much more reliable initiation with the Blink Hex instead of wait for the TP to go off and then, you know, run in from the side.
Exactly. All they need to know right now are basically where the Naga Siren is and where the supports are hiding, because that Shadow Demon can save, and of course the Linken's doing its work there as well, but that Shadow Demon can very well save some targets, very crucial targets right now. And
but just to go back to the map control, I mean, I'm just looking at, like, all three lanes are pushing in. Zephyr, literally, this is like, the noose is so tightly cinched around MVP's neck that they can barely even breathe anymore. They just can't leave the base, except for the Prophet. But they do find Corey. He still has Aegis, though. You don't want to overcommit here. They dunk him.
Oh.
Well.
Speaking of overcommit.
The Aegis was just about to expire anyway. Look at that timer. That was like 5 to 10 seconds left on the Aegis.
Yeah, that's right. Now that Aegis basically disappearing for the intel that Earthshaker had 1 blink and 2 no Echo Slam means that Zephyr can actually just push into this base right now. And I really wouldn't be surprised if they decided to just walk high ground with a couple heroes split pushing.
Yeah.
And 4F doing something really smart now, pushing out the side lane. What I would actually have liked better, honestly, is for him to cut the creep wave for bottom lane. Because Naga Siren being alone there, you know for a fact that he's not going to have support because he's one of the best split pushers, so there's not going to be any hero sitting behind him. But yeah, top lane is just as well. I mean, top lane was already kind of pushing, so I think it's kind of overdoing or pushing the issue rather.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at these towers. Tier 1 mid or tier 3 mid down to 600 health. The bottom tower only lost 250, but you know, all it takes is one bad engage for MVP to lose base. Buybacks they have none of actually. Nobody's saving for buyback, which whether it's a good choice or not, it's a risky choice. No buyback, one bad pickoff. That's pretty much game.
Now, this might sound a little gimmicky, but I'm gonna just throw this out there. Bambo can actually make a very Bambo-y play, and what I mean by that is right now he can actually run into the gyrocopter, force the Wisp to come in. He can sleep up the 2 targets and allow his team to just push the top lane. It would actually be a brilliant play. But he's gonna decide to play it safe, I think, and just rotate backwards for a little bit because his illusions are down and Gyrocopter is able to clear out the lanes. But there's a relocate top lane.
There's a Blink Hex on Blitz, but he does get force staffed to safety by Purge, looking out for his husbando. Now March on the move. Blitz tries to turn around, stands his ground, will go down though. They've lost the TA. Purge couldn't save him in the end. Now it's Corey going hard, plinking with those arrows. Can he bring him down? 4F will be next. That's 3 dead. And they're all back to base. Oh, you can just feel the love when Blitz and Purge are on the same team. It's so romantic.
I can feel your intensity too, my goodness.
That was such a romantic force step. When's the wedding?
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. But they do defend high ground for now.
Yeah, for now. Of course, the tier 3 does go down to kind of safe keep the high ground. So I would say Zephyr's attempts were, actually MVP's attempts were more like kind of a failure because they were the ones that tried to take the engagement, saying that they had the right opportunity. But the wife and husbando, the bond is proving too strong. LD, I don't know what to do at this point.
it's the mind meld, you know. It's just like they know what the other's thinking.
Oh gosh.
Oh boy. I'm just gonna stop. Man. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah. No, you're amazing, dude. Please keep going.
No, I think that's. Now we're having our own awkward little.
No, man, there's no awk, man. I mean, there's no wife husband.
Oh, here. I met you at TI. There's definitely no wife husband.
Hey.
But you and Puppy got along great, you know?
Yeah, man.
You had a real bonding moment after the finals.
For sure. A real men's time.
Oh boy. Some stories are better not told. That was definitely fun. But, yeah, so looking good for Zephyr, I think safe to say. And Claire's just cut the cord.
No. Just watching out for the Roche now. Looks like they're going to be going for it. There's going to be a cheese on it, and looks like it's pretty much the guaranteed victor move here.
So after this, MVP pretty much dead in the water. Anything they can do?
Honestly, not so much. I mean, I don't really want to rule things out before the throne actually goes down, but let's face it, at this point, there are just too many things that have gone awry for them. I think basically the cheese on top is the cherry on top as well. And it's going to allow them to basically clean up the next team fight with no major casualties, and by that I mean like no core heroes will suffer because they have the Aegis as well as the cheese to fall back on now. So nice rotation, or nice attempt rather, coming out of Zephyr with the Priestess ultimate, trying to stay hidden and masqueraded under that ultimate, but proving to be no success for now. But Nature's Prophet decides to do a nice rift, and here it is.
Oh, there's your Hex onto Corey, but he has Aegis available, and they're not going to have the full team for this one. I don't know. They need to get out quickly. This is going to turn around, I feel. Corey is low, Ryzen 2, but Blitz is now on the hunt. They've cornered. Nope, they'll relocate him out, so they'll lose a Wisp. The rest survive, and all the while, bottom lane, Bambo solo kill scene on the Quap. They Hex, but it ain't going to matter. Nope, maybe it will. There's another Hex soon. I'll TP out. Nope. Thinking about it. And now gets fissured! Gets fissured outside the song range. Can't TP! Oh, the plays. That new AS fissure range. Just long enough. Now they get the Hex off. Can they bring Bambo down? Will this be a small consolation prize? Perhaps it could be. He's still running. He's very tanky. Fissure
He's
comes
also
through.
a very fast fish.
Yes, and he's got the mirror images soon, but I think the missile's going to connect. Can he Manta dodge it? Is there a Manta dodge? Manta, the plays!
Oh.
Nicely done.
Very nicely done by Bambo. He actually, see that's one thing that it's a very small detail that not been. Oh, I'm gonna throw that top
Yeah,
lane.
there's the call down. But the Rex are down. That's now one lane of Rex down for Zephyr, and it could be the beginning of the end here for MVP. Sorry, you were saying one thing?
Yeah. It's just a very small detail that a lot of pro players pay attention to, that a lot of players in general could pick up as well. It's like when you're having those, oh my gosh, Corey just landed a big arrow.
Is that the game-winning arrow?
Yeah, pretty
No
much.
buyback on Gyro. That's a GG arrow right there, if I've ever seen one.
I mean, if that's not enough, Corey has 6.4k gold inside his bank. He can actually just sell like his BKB, which is on cooldown, or just drop it and buy a rapier, and he'll still be fine. So
he's got some
like,
first world problems here. No item slots to spend that gold on.
Yeah, that's actually a very big deal for a lot of hard carries these days, apparently.
You know, how do you feel about the idea of like a hero who has extra item slots like on his main hero as like part of his gimmick?
Honestly, I think it's gonna be imbalanced.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
So you finish your point. What were you trying to say about the small detail?
It's that Bambo actually turned around to face the direction of where the missile was coming from, so he kind of just increases his chances of actually dodging it, as opposed to kind of keep running away and then letting the missile kind of trail behind you as you're trying to dodge, and then it might just connect afterwards. So, as my point is made, the Earthshaker makes his final dunk in the game, and the game concludes.
Well, Claire, it was an interesting game, but I feel like MVP were just really passive and did not create any pressure or space on the map, aside from some split pushing from 4Ev.
Yeah, a lot of doors were open to create space, but unfortunately not enough space was available, and
there were no windows to open to get to the room with the doors.
Right. No windows or opportunities for space and all these other space things. But you know, it was just a really nice match to see, and I think last game was to be honest, I know this sounds a little odd, but I think last game was a better demonstration of skill coming out of the Koreans. They seem more composed, or better composed rather, that game. And this game, as you said, just from the laning phase at the mid lane, the Queen of Pain having such a critical role as two position and not being able to get the ball rolling. And on the contrary, Zephyr's Templar Assassin having such a good lead, allowing the map to be opened up and the traps to kick in and all that map vision as well as control in general. Everything going in favor of Zephyr. And it really just turned out to what you could expect in the mid-late game stages when you have that kind of an advantage and you kind of just push it forward. So I don't want to say too many surprises. I think MVP might have had better fights and could have actually toppled the situation and turned the tables. But as it stands, Zephyr did play rather well. And just as you said, I think they played rather passive on the side of MVP. So didn't really push anything or pressure too hard.
Right, absolutely. So I actually have my headphones plugged into the speaker, which just fell off the computer, which is why my head jolted suddenly, if ever watching the camera. But Claire, thanks for joining me. I know after being bullied for ages, amongst the people bullying you was me, you do have a Twitter now, so people can follow you. and hear all about your exploits in League of Legends. Am I right?
Actually,
Do you even know what your Twitter is? Do you use it? I don't know.
no. I guess I'll just drop it now. I mean, on the subject of Twitter,
Yeah. Oh
like,
God. Is this gonna be like a small essay about Twitter?
I guess I'll just hold it off for a later time. Basically, for now, everything is
It's. I will tell you guys, Claire is exactly like this in person. He never runs out of things to talk about, and I love it about you. I think it's great, but it is funny.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Where can people follow you?
Nothing at the moment. Just I keep updated to threads going up and just the latest buzz with regards to Dota, as well as some of the big games coming up. I know if you're interested in checking me out or checking some of the bigger things happening in Dota, there are some fantastic matches coming up in about 10 hours. Hopefully after a beauty sleep, I can join that as well. It's going to be, I believe, the D2CL Navi against C9, as well as some other matches with the.
Oh boy, Navi versus C9. I might have to wake up early for that. That sounds pretty good. All right,
a lot of big things.
Claire, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go get some sleep because it's getting late for old man LD over here. But thanks again for joining me. Hopefully we'll get to cast together in the future. And as for everybody else who joined us for the broadcast, we'll have the VODs up shortly, including, if you missed it, Game 1, which was epic, triple Battle Fury, crit Lord Ember Spirit, no BKB until the bitter end when he broke my heart. Those VODs will be available at youtube.com/BeyondTheSummit TV. You can also follow yours truly at twitter.com/LDDota. You should be able to follow Clairvoyance, but he's a jerk, and he doesn't want to communicate with you, apparently. So go watch the D2CL tomorrow for more of his casting. But on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us, guys. From all of us here at Beyond the Summit, we'll see you next time.